Okay, I'm going to be showing you how to clean your headset and put on a new pair of forks on a single crown forked bicycle threadless headset. So it's kind of cold out there, so I'm having problems with lighting, so just please bear with me and we'll get started here. Okay, here is my new pair of forks, which is actually the old ones. I put a brand new one on there, but I'm going to show you how to do this. You're going to need 2 flat screwdrivers, some grease, some gloves, and some silicone spray. Silicone spray is optional, and then some hex wrenches to take off some parts. So you're going to take off your top cap here. I'm just going to unscrew that, and I didn't take it all the way off the first time. You can either do that the first time, or you can undo the side bolts first. So you undo the side bolts, and it'll take the stem loose from the tube. Then you can take off the cap. The side bolts don't need to completely come out, but the top cap does. That goes into the star nut. I'm trying to find out where I set the top cap down. So now that we have the top cap and the bolt that goes to the star nut, you can set that down. Go ahead and take off your stem and your handlebars, and you can set that down onto the side. Just make sure the stem doesn't get that dirty. You got your spacers there that I'm just moving, and we're going to take those off there, just like that. You can set them down. Those are just making sure that your stem doesn't sit too low or too high on your steer tube. Next part we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to take off the crown race, and the dust seal, and the tension ring. Those all come off as one if you pick them up like that. The tension ring is what keeps it tight when you hit big drops with the threadless headset. Then it'll just come straight off the tube, and you can see your bottom bearings and your top bearings there. If you just take a screwdriver and press lightly on one side, you can pick out the bearings. It's pretty easy. Don't push too hard, or you'll knock the bearings loose, and no one ever wants that. You can either do this with sealed bearings or unsealed. Mine are unsealed. One thing that might be different with your new pair of forks is you'll need a different star nut or have the steer tube cut down. So I'll just set my handlebars over here, and you can pick your frame right off your forks. I know you can't see it right now, and I'm about to adjust the camera. So now you have your forks. Those are my new forks, which will be your old forks sitting there. And I'll show you how to take off the crown race. You gotta transfer these with forks. This little crown race is pushed into the fork right there, and you could use a specialty tool to get it off, or there's these 2 little tabs, indentations in the thing that the crown race pushes into, and you can just stick a flathead screwdriver in there and pull it out. Just take it out nice and easy, and it'll come right off. If it doesn't, get a little bit of spray that silicone lube. If not, then use the custom-made tool. It'll just slide right on most of your tube. It's just kind of wedged on the bottom down there. And then you'll take that off your old forks and put it on your new one. Okay, so now that we have our new forks here, we slid the crown race onto them, and we're about to press it in. The hillbilly way, the easier way to do it, is to take a wrench that's big enough that it doesn't sit on the U part where the bearings actually rest on. You put it on the flat spot that's just past the outer ring, and you can take a wrench and just knock them in there, and I'm going to show you. We use the towel to keep it from scratching the tube. I just sprayed it with some silicone lube, so it's a little bit easier to slide down on there and knock in. Just dry it off a little bit there, a little bit. Here we go to knock it in. You'll just need a rubber mallet to do this. It's pretty easy. You'll hear the change in sound as you knock it in. It'll only take 1 or 2 hits. It's pretty simple, and you want to hold the fork in your hand when you go to mash it in, so you're not compressing your fork as you do it. And let me go grab my mallet really quick here. Okay, so you're just going to rest it in your palm there, and you're going to hold the wrench so it's flat. And you're just going to hit it maybe once or twice. It shouldn't take more than 2 or 3 times to knock it in. If it does, just readjust. I got it 2 times, and I just wanted to check and make sure if it was in there right, so I'm going to hit it again. And so it's set in there nice and tight, sitting on there, and that's the crown race, which your bearings are going to be rolling on in your headset. And so now that we got that on our new ports, we can just go ahead and install them. Okay, so now what we're going to do is start greasing things up and putting them back on there. So you just want to make sure you wipe that, get it nice and clean. And you got your dust cap on there still too. And so there's your bearings, and you're going to wipe those clean before you put them back on. And you're going to re-grease them back up, which is pretty easy. You can just rest that there. Before you do the bearings, the race on your headset that you pressed into your frame, you're just gonna get a little bit of grease on there. Make sure it's all good so you don't have to grease everything else as much. We'll do that on the bottom side too. And we'll just rest these on our fork right here until we can get the bearings greased. We'll just take some grease and press it into the bearing. And so now that we got our bearing all greased, you can just drop it down in there. Make sure it's facing the same way that you took it off, because I had to redo it and I didn't show it in this video, but showed it the correct way. So just go ahead and set that all down on there. Make sure your dust cap's sitting to the outside, and your bearing set into your headset and your frame just fine. There'll still be a wiggle since you're not having any tension on there yet, but we'll go ahead and press a little bit more grease in the top there. Makes it a little bit easier, runs a little bit better. We'll grease our top bearing here. It's pretty easy. It's just greasing again. We'll make sure we set that in there the right way too. Then we can apply our dust cap, which is the first thing that'll go on. Just grease the bottom of that if you'd like. Set that on there. It doesn't have to be a lot of grease. Then our new crown race, which we're going to grease again. Too much grease won't hurt, but just don't make it squeezing out of there. And then we are going to put our tension ring, which is the key to keeping the headset sturdy on big drops. So then we're going to slide our spacers all back in there. And it doesn't matter which order they're in, as long as you have the correct spacing. If you need to have your head tube cut or a new star nut put in your fork, just consult your local bike shop. You can do it at home, but it's just a lot easier to have the bike shop do it. Normally it's not that expensive. Just clean up some of the excess grease out there. You can go ahead and stick your stem and your handlebars back on. You can go ahead and tighten it. This is where I had to redo it again because I noticed I didn't set the bottom bearing in the right way. But on there, your new fork should have about 1/8 of an inch of space between there and the top of the stem, so it holds it a little bit tight, and your cap can go in. So we'll just go ahead and put our cap on here now, and we don't want it to be too tight or too loose, but just enough that it'll still turn. Go ahead and pull that out, and I'll show you how to check the tension of your headset really quick here and how to adjust it. So you're just going to align your stem with your front wheel here and tighten up the sides. This is something that would take a while, and I didn't do it accurately right now. And so to check and see if your top cap is tight enough, we're just going to be grabbing our front braking and see if our steer tube is moving inside our head tube. So you'll just grab your front brake and see if it'll move, and if it jiggles and you can feel the fork steer tube inside the head tube move, just tighten up that top cap about a 1/4 turn. If it feels like your wheel's moving, then just turn your bars 90 degrees and do it again. It's just a way to make sure that nothing's wiggling around. But if it's still wiggling around and you've tightened it a lot and it doesn't seem like it's turning very well, make sure you have your bearings set the right way and everything's aligned. And so mine's nicely spinning around now. It's not wobbling, and that will conclude our video today. Comment, share. Thanks for watching.